welcome to Love Tips and Velvet Lips. I am Marla Renee Stewart. Look at that. Goodness gracious, my damn camera. Stop. Don't move. All right. How are y'all doing today? Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Welcome to Love Tips and Velvet Lips. I am your host, Marla Renee Stewart, here to talk to you all about fantasy techniques to elevate your solo play and what that looks like. Of course, there's lots and lots of things that we can talk about when it comes to fantasy. But before we get there, we know May is solo play month. And since May is solo play month, this is the opportunity to sort of up-level your play in any sort of which way. Hey, Threesome Inc. Hi, how are you doing? Thank you for joining me. So if you have questions around anything that has to do with solo play and what that looks like, you can always submit your questions anonymously by going to qrco.de/lovetipsama, or please put them in the comment section and I'll be happy to answer those questions for you. You can always download the erotic activity bucket list anytime you want. All you have to go is velvetlips.kit.com/VL bucket list. If you have a business that has to do with solo play, or a business that you would like to spread the word around what you're talking about when it comes to sexuality stuff, please feel free to email gettips@velvetlipsexed.com, and May will be happy to get you here on the show sometime. Of course, SDS is coming up in September. It's coming up faster than we can imagine. And with SDS, for those of you who don't know, Sex Down South Conference, you can always register at sexdownsouth.com. Please use my code MarlaSDS to get your 20% off your ticket there. So much to be said, right, about solo play. I know you maybe you've seen it on your feed. So many things around like solo play, what that looks like. And I wrote a blog last week to talk about sort of, spicing up your solo play, right? Because there's imagination. You can do that with erotica. You can do that with toys. But really, we have to think about like why we want to fantasize in the first place, right? We know that desire can come from within or can come from externally, but mostly it's internally, right? What you are tapped into, what you feel good about. And if you are just starting to explore your solo play, or you're like, I have all the toys in the book, either way is just fine, right? Good morning, Stilettos for Survival. Thanks for joining me. So what really is really great about sort of doing this with yourself is really, it's going to help you ignite arousal. It's going to help you deepen your connection to your body, right? Get more acclimated, and ultimately, hopefully, will boost confidence in your own desires. So it's not just about getting off. It's really about getting into yourself. What do you like? What turns you on? What gets you hot in the pants? So you can help get those pants, get the big O for you in those pants, right? So we have to understand people use fantasies for all sorts of reasons, right? They allow you to safely explore, right? Have an understanding of really what turns you on without that judgment, without having to explain yourself. And fantasy can even kind of act as a rehearsal, right? So say you want to do something to a lover, it can act as a rehearsal for you. So people engage in fantasies for all sorts of reasons, right? It enhances arousal and intensifies your big O. It allows exploration of taboo or hidden desires, right? In a nice, safe space, like similar to dreams, right? It provides emotional catharsis, stress relief, and also it supports self-awareness, right? And embodiment of pleasure. So the more you're aware of your body, the more that you understand what your body likes for pleasure, the better you can accommodate your body by thinking of the type of fantasies that you want to do for yourself, right? The great thing about fantasies is that they are 100% customizable, right? There's no permission that is required of you. You do not have to explain yourself to nobody, no matter how dirty, nasty, raunchy, or whatever, romantic, right? Your fantasy is. So what's really interesting in the book, in Justin Lee Miller's book, Tell Me What You Want, he really kind of dives deep into fantasy, right? And there's lots of fantasies that really spark some excitement that people aren't aware about. Good morning, Mr. His Own Lane. Lovely to have you here. So few things that show up, right? Power play. So we know that well enough into kink, right? So we might know dominant submission, maybe role reversal scenarios, even switching, who could take over more. Voyeurism and exhibitionism, huge, right? Either you like to watch somebody or you like being watched yourself. Group play or threesomes, more bodies, more fun, as some people like to explain. Stranger encounters, right? The thrill of an unknown or an anonymous person having sex with them. That can also be a really great fantasy for people. Romantic and emotional connections, right? Like if you have a crush and you're like, ooh, I have a crush on this person, that could be a really great fantasy because it's nice and tender, it's passionate, it can be a little bit soul stirring. And then there's also like taboo or forbidden scenarios like teacher student, boss employee, those relationships that are taboo, things that we aren't supposed to do or aren't supposed to want to do. And then kink exploration, right? BDSM, restraint, sensory play, all of those different things can fuel your fantasies when it comes to solo play. But here's the thing. You don't need your fantasy to make sense to anyone but you, right? It is your personal erotic cinema. It is in your head. You can do whatever you want to do in that, in the movie of your mind, right? Your mind movie. What's really great too, another method that I think is beautiful when it comes to exploring fantasies is erotica. Erotica is so good because it's you want to feed what your brain craves, right? And one of those things or with erotica is that it can activate fantasies, right? When you're reading erotica, you'd be like, ooh, I never even thought of that. Let me go ahead and implement that into my play, right? So you can do, you can either, read before or during. I had a client who, would have erotica in one hand, right, reading the book, and then doing one hand, doing the most with her solo play, right? So doing both at the same time. It can help short stories, novels, whatever it is, can really set the mood and really inspire the scenes in your head because you are catering to your imagination. You can also do audio erotica. I'm going to be partnering with someone I'm super excited about doing audio erotica and erotic poetry. So but erotica stories, anything you got like that, please hit me up. I'm happy to have some fun with you on those. But audio erotica, erotic podcasts, this is super, super great for auditory learners. Or those who, just want to close your eyes. You don't want to read the erotica, right? You want to listen to it, take it in, sort of drift into the fantasy. That can be great for those auditory people. And then, of course, journaling, right? I like to journal every day, but journaling your fantasies. So writing them out can really help you to reinforce what arouses you. And even then, it may unlock some things for you, like new turn-ons, or something that you hadn't consciously thought about, right? So sometimes even free writing, something along those lines can even really be great when it comes to figuring out if a fantasy is good for you. Um, and here's a pro tip, of course, search for erotica that matches your seduction learning style. If you don't know what's your seduction learning style, please make sure you take my quiz at velvetlipssexed.com/quiz. And you can take that quiz and figure out with your seduction learning style. So really taking into account the visual, the auditory, or the kinesthetic, you'll know how to engage with your own self. And then, of course, if you want to sort of step it up a notch, you can always use toys and tools, right, to bring your fantasies your fantasies to life, right? So, once you have a fantasy in your mind, right, it's time to like make your body feel that fantasy. You want to be involved in that fantasy. So, sex toys, pleasure tools can really enhance not only your sensation, but it also can help mimic the elements of your fantasy that you want to do for yourself. So if you're thinking about power play or submission fantasies, right? You can think about handcuffs, blindfolds, collar on yourself, or restraint, or maybe even a voice controlled vibrator or app controlled toy, right? Like pretending someone else has control. Those are all really great ways to help with that. Maybe for stranger or anonymous play, you can use like role play masks or mirrors to shift your perspective. You can incorporate edging or even a timer for a not until you're told scenario kind of situation. For romance or emotional connection, maybe you want to set the scene with candles, right? Some silk sheets, some sensual music, right? Your favorite sexual playlist. Using maybe like a warming or cooling lube or a massager for like a slow, intimate build on yourself. Any of those things are great. For kinky or kink and sensory fantasies, you can think about incorporating temperature play with warming or cooling lube or metal toys. Using impact toys like floggers, paddles for light self-play. Some people even do like to self-tie or self-bondage. That could also be a really great way for you to have some sensory fantasies or a bondage for yourself. For folks who are like, I want some internal exploration, you can do dual stimulation toys like rabbit vibes, prostate massagers, any of those things for like a fuller sensation for those of you who like to feel full. And using maybe vibrating butt plugs for taboo or anal curiosity fantasies. Any of those things are going to be great, right? And here's a bonus tip, right? You can even pair, right, your favorite toy with that erotica that narrates maybe that fantasy that you're indulging in, right? For a full sensory experience. So if one of your fantasies is anal play, you may want to, put in that butt plug, or before you put in the butt plug, right, read that erotica and then put in the butt plug to see how, far you can go or what you can do or how you can have that big O with yourself to explore, right? And of course, if you're going to be buying toys, really great affordable toys, use my code VELVET at shopstarship.com to get a discount. Please make sure you check them out. But really, my final thoughts here are, your fantasy, your rules, right? So fantasy is not about shame or secrecy. It's about permission. You are giving yourself permission when you allow yourself to fully explore what turns you on. Really deepen your relationship with your pleasure and your power. So, get curious, get creative, get yourself off with intention, imagination. But understand you are the main character. You are the director. You are the star. You are the person who is the center of your solo play. So this is your opportunity to take advantage of that. Again, your fantasy, your rules, play by your own personal rule book. So cheers to your sexual success. But please check that out. If you want to learn more, you can go to my blog at velvetlipssexed.com/blog. And check out the blog for more if you want to read more about that. If you haven't taken my free class, please make sure you check it out. All you have to do is go to velvetlipsexed.com/shop, get my free class, and learn some more about how you can use the seduction learning styles in your everyday life. So I think that is it for today, y'all. Next week, what are we talking about next week? Of course, again, May is solo play month, May masturbation month. So we are going to be talking about that all month. And so next week we're going to be talking about setting the scene. Like, what does it mean to like set the scene? How does that look? What are the things that you can do to ensure that your solo play is upgraded, up leveled with the scene around you, right? Like your world around you. So I think that is it for today, y'all. Thank you so much for joining me on this Cinco de Mayo. Please make sure you check out all my different links there. pillar.io/velvetlipsexed, sex without the E. Or always check the calendar. I'm going to be coming out with classes for the rest of the year, so please stay tuned. If you haven't signed up for weekly, to get my free weekly sex advice, please make sure you do that. All you have to do is go to velvetlips.kit.com/subscribe, and you can get on my list. So thank you all so much for joining me. And we'll see you next week when we discuss setting the scene. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful, wonderful Monday, and we'll talk soon. Bye.